to the rest of the world. It's 6:03 on Wednesday night. This is the Permanent Building Committee. All members are present. The architect and the OPM are present, and we have 3 guests in the audience. The first thing I'd like to do is entertain a motion to approve the minutes from December 16th.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? You're all set. Correspondence mail, I have gotten nothing other than a couple of emails from Mr. Briscoe. Every member has the last one, not the last one, I got one today, but the last current one that I had was 2 weeks ago, I believe. Although it's dated the 31st, I think it's more like the 12th or 13th, but doesn't really matter to me. As far as the chair's report, things are going along. I'm gonna take, as I usually do, some wind out of Steve's report. The antenna was chopped off and shortened and then anchored down. That work is all done except for one part, I believe, but it's not interfering with the fire department at all. The fire department stayed active with what was on the antennas, so that's not holding up the demolition, and everything else will be given in Steve's report. Other than that, I have nothing else. I'm not sure where I want to put this, but I'll put it here. I'm announcing that I'm going to resign as chairman for personal reasons and family reasons. So whenever you people decide you want to have an election, let me know. And that's all I have to say.
Effective what
Any
date, Jim?
questions? Huh?
Effective when is your resignation?
When we appoint a new one,
You'll hang on until then?
yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, that's too bad.
And you've got to get one in within 2 months. I'll be nice and hang on, but
Mr. Chair, just add
I'm
it to
sure
the
there's a few people that'll pop up.
next, just add it to the next agenda, that's all.
Huh?
Just add it to the next month's agenda.
Okay. So we will have an election for a new chairman at our next agenda, at our next meeting.
And we'll need to fill the vacancy.
For
But
what?
you're not leaving the
No,
board.
I'm staying
Oh,
on the
you're staying
committee.
on.
I'm leaving as chairperson.
I thought he was leaving altogether.
No such luck, Brian. You lose.
You've done all this,
Making sure.
you've done all this work, Jim, up to now.
The buildings are done.
Now you
Well,
decide.
as far as I'm concerned, we're done. The 2 buildings, the town's had the 2 buildings for 5 months. The town owns the buildings. There's nothing other than 2 or 3 large items on the checklist, on the punch list that concern this building committee. Everything else should be brought up to the town manager and not before this committee.
You've reached 30,000 feet, and you don't want to just coast at this point?
You
Put out
sure are
autopilot?
stretching this out.
Let's go, let's go.
Okay, Stephen, you're next.
Okay, thank you, Jim. If I could just for a second, though, clarify what you just said. We know that we're going to be continuing with the old town hall demo/restoration. Are you saying that that's not going to be under the purview of the PDC?
Well,
Yes, it
when
will.
I came on board, I promised that I would give the town a new town hall and a new senior center on time and under budget. Because of the contractors, we weren't on time for whatever reason, but we were under budget for those 2 projects. So I feel that my time is done for those 2 projects. We do have, you are correct, we have another project sitting on the table. As far as I'm concerned, it's a separate project, is the demolition of the old town hall.
Contractually, it's the same project.
I just wanted to clarify
No, but-
so
yeah.
you're basically referring to yourself?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
set. We'll
stepping
still
down as-
meet.
Nothing
As my chairman.
changes,
He doesn't have to be
nothing
chairman.
changes the parameters within what the purview of the committee is, it's
I
just
didn't
my
think so.
interpretation,
Okay.
which is always wrong, so.
That's why I'm stepping
No,
down.
that's.
So now we can
that's
get a
it.
correct person. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, so I'll give an update for the senior center. I know we'll probably, let me go through all the senior center first, and I know we're gonna, before we go on to town hall, we'll go through the latest list. But just, you know, the COA warranty list, there's been a couple of updates. I actually just got one this morning that had an item from 122 and then one from, or two items from 19. Before that, the last one I had was the 18 update. But there was a review that was done in the field last Friday with Seaver, with Mike, Nick, and Dan, and Chris, to review all those items. Dan did attempt to review the items a couple times earlier than that, but he wasn't allowed into the senior center. So, and he did have a cough, but he had a mask on, but he was denied access. So we really just took a look at it on Friday. I mean, we had a good idea of most of the items. One of the latest items was the photos of the roof, the ridges and the whatever's moving on the roof shingles. We have sent that to both Seaver and to Greenwood Industries, who is the roofer. That's new. We haven't heard anything back from them yet, but that's another thing. Dan went over there today to look at it, but the roof is still covered with snow, so you really can't see. So whenever you took the pictures, there was a little snow on it, but we didn't have the larger storm that we had. So I think that's going to take a while to melt off. But we've logged it in as an issue back to the contractor.
Steve, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to say is, you know, I've looked at the roof a couple of times, and sometimes if the sun's not right, you can't see anything.
Well, that's the conversation we've had where
Yes.
we've looked at the roof before and it was laying flat. So part of what we want to get out of the roofer, and we sort of pulled in the shingle manufacturer too, or requested that they be involved, is what is it that's going on? And what's the cause and origin, and then what's the fix, and what's our warranty, and everything that goes with it. So it's opened up another little project to deal with, but we want to address it. I mean, I know, or I assume right now, because you haven't mentioned, there's no leaks on the inside, but you know, if there's an anomaly up there, we want to take a look at it.
Are they cupping up the shingles?
No, they're sort of,
Didn't I send you a picture?
it's almost like a vertical ridge. It almost lines up with sheets of plywood, but sometimes not quite, and it's sporadic. It isn't uniform. It's,
I may have seen the photo, I don't remember, I'm just curious.
Mr. Haas, you had something you wanted to add?
It's referred to as a mold, when, like on your lawn, you know, where a mold pumps up the lawn, and that's the same thing they refer to as a mold
Oh, these,
on the
okay.
roof. It's not a mold, but it's mainly caused by moisture from the
And
roofing.
well, again, you know, we want them to look at it because that roof was full ice and water. It has a
It's fully vented.
vented section to eliminate that. So
And it was installed in the summer, right?
yeah,
It wasn't like it was cold.
Yeah, no, there wasn't a temperature issue and all that one.
Yeah.
And when somebody complained to me, I went up with a complaint and looked at the roof, and to me, it looked completely flat, although this picture proves me wrong again.
I think it's moving.
I think it comes and goes or whatever, and it's up to the roofer to figure out what's going on, because it doesn't show sometimes, it does show others. and-
Temperature thing, that's
And the roof was inspected when, you know, when we accepted the building, so, and we've been physically on that roof. Because there was some things that we caught on flashings and so forth. But
Especially in the
not
back.
shingles. Yeah, on that lower slope roof. Moving on though, hot water heater was replaced yesterday. Let's hope that that solves the problem. As far as the audio visual, we have Pro AV visiting the site tomorrow. Dan's going to take them around this building and the other building so that they actually see the rooms. And then once we get a delivery and installation date, we'll have to coordinate with the COA just to make sure that they have access to the rooms because they are program rooms. But as soon as we get that date, we'll let everybody know. So as far as closeout with Seaver, this is in discussions right now. I'm really not going to get into detail because it could possibly be litigation. But those have been ongoing since the end of December. We did get one demand for direct payment from the mechanical contractor, which has been responded to by Seaver, and we'll probably follow up with another response to it. And we have reduced the job meetings to every 2 weeks, plus or minus, because there's really only a few things that where we have open, as mostly punch list warranty items. Getting to the latest list, we can go through those. I got a number of different responses from Ed, from GGD, from the project manager for Seaver. So first item is the roof shingles, which we just talked about. That's a relatively new item that we've notified Seaver and the roofer.
I'm missing the red print.
The two items from 1.9, I hadn't seen those before until today, so these are new. I did send them to Seaver, and he's going to forward them to the plumber, so I don't really have an update on these as of yet. The 1.8 list, the odor in the kitchen and the function room. We do know that all these floor drains have trap primers. We did, however, send it to Seaver, who forwarded it to the plumber to investigate. Don't know if you're still smelling the odor?
I was over there today, and I don't smell it today.
This morning, it was horrible,
In the kitchen?
yes. When I went in at 8:30, it
Mr.
was
Haast,
pretty rough.
sorry, Mr. Haast.
As far as that odor is concerned, it's coming from a drain that appears to be the drain from the sink above this floor drain. The root of the drain apparently was changed, and given the fact that there was an 1.5 to 2 inch hole drilled in the back of the cabinet. But the fact of the matter is that floor drain is underneath, not only the kick, where your toe can go under but underneath the cabinet itself. That's going to cause,
And this has to do with the smell because,
pardon?
we're talking about the smell.
Okay, the smell is because what's coming down from the sink, I can see that, yes, I've looked at it. It's accumulating on the funnel of the floor drain. But that sink is haphazardly routed through the cover of that floor drain, which is underneath the cabinet itself, and it's open. And I'd suggest that floor drain needs to be, I know I've made mistakes on laying out conduit 8 inches and being out in the middle of a room, but this was underneath, somebody took a wrong measurement in installing that drain for the cabinet. It's underneath the cabinet. It should not be underneath the cabinet.
Bob,
There's no On that sink he's talking about, there's no trap on the sink either, there's no trap. Don't know if it needs to be there or not. It just comes out of the sink, goes over to the cabinet, goes through the side of the cabinet, down to the floor, under the cabinet, and down into the floor drain.
And that's noted in your complaint, right?
Right.
Yes.
And you can see, if you look down the floor drain, you can see at the bottom, there's a lot of crap down there. I mean, sediment and whatever down there. And you put your nose down there, you can smell it.
The floor drain has a trap, right?
The floor drain has a trap and a primer on
Yeah,
it.
that should-
That sink has to be an indirect waste the way it's set up by code.
Yeah.
So that floor sink and whatever's in that floor sink needs to be cleaned out.
Your trap is in the floor drain itself, doesn't
There
it?
is no,
Exactly.
there is no connection to the sewer in that sink.
Yeah.
But it's all open.
It's
Right.
required to be by code.
Mr. House.
I think I beg to differ, that no code will allow that open grate to go underneath the cabinet.
It's partially
Cabinet.
under the toe kick.
No.
The pipe is routed through the
Slot.
toe kick of the cabinet to prevent any impact to the clear knee space for handicapped at that sink.
Yes, but the drain itself,
The pipe.
the grate is underneath, protruding past the toe space into underneath the enclosed part of the cabinet. You might want to look at that.
This is the reason I was gonna not let Bob speak about these lists. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's between the town and the senior center, and is not part of the building committee's pathway. We've turned the buildings over. We don't need to rehash this every month, read down the list, then hear from their expert about what's wrong, and spend an hour and a half here, and it still doesn't get fixed. It's up to
Warranty issue.
it's up to the contractor and the subcontractors to fix it. And
If there's a
short
problem.
of
If there's a
having
problem.
their expert sitting on everybody's shoulder, I don't know how it's gonna get fixed his way so that Bob doesn't complain to the town manager.
So
My own
what we're
personal
trying to
opinion.
do
I mean,
is
we'll go
go
along
through the
with it now,
list
but I just
and cross
I
things
just think
off
we're
if they're
wasting,
valid.
I just think we're wasting a lot of time of this committee on items that are not germane to this committee. I mean, we've turned the building over, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, I was representing the senior center, and, you know, when the rules get changed, you need to tell people that they've changed. Originally, I was told to communicate to Beth about any discrepancies.
Which is fine.
And also, I was told to, any discrepancies that were found, is to go through Chris. which
Where's
I-
Chris? Wasn't he supposed to be at this meeting?
I don't know.
We asked last time.
I did not ask him here, and I asked him on the side, because I didn't want him coming here for lynching, because there's a couple of people that have personal problems with him, and this is becoming complicated enough without taking up personal issues. All of a sudden, somebody will bring up that the bus doesn't have an oil change, which has nothing to do with this committee or anything else, so it was, I did not ask him, but he was aware that he wanted to be here. Do you have a complaint with that? I will go to the town manager, go ahead.
Jim, I don't have a complaint. All I'm saying is, whatever the communication is, if you let me know who to communicate with, I will communicate with them. If it's you, I'll communicate to you. If it's Mr. Units, I'll communicate with him. If it's Chris, I'll communicate with him. I just want to know who to communicate to.
I don't think we've changed the line of communications. I think that you,
I get the
can I
message.
finish? I let you finish, Bob. Okay? I think we're very clear at the last meeting that Beth was supposed to go to the town manager. You took over that responsibility from Beth, or Beth relinquished it to you in front of this committee, that you were gonna be the person in charge of doing it. So you've been giving this list to the town manager to the building committee. I don't think anything in communications has changed. I think it's the same way. I have just brought up the fact that the senior center and the town hall has been open for 5 months. It's not the building committee's responsibility anymore, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it until I am no longer chairman, and I'll come from the peanut gallery and say it. You have to go to the town manager. He is the technical owner of the building.
Okay, I got it.
And it's actually.
Bob?
Following up on that question, Mr. Units, the process is in place. As was stated, we are no longer involved in these buildings on this level. What is your understanding about the process? How does it work? If he has an issue, or if any of us have an issue, who do we go to? How do we address this? Can you give us some guidance on how to do this?
I could just for a second. We went over a couple times what the process was, because it's building related. The correspondence was gonna go to Chris Zana, who's the facilities manager. You've been sending these lists to Chris Zana, copying Mike Units, which is fine, it's town. And as we had requested, to copy us so that we would know what was going on. We've jumped in to try and assist with moving this along, because we know everybody's busy and the list was fairly long. Jim's right that there is a process, but we're trying to help out to expedite this and get Seaver, which he came out to look at the items, move that along. But the real process, as we've talked about, is any warranty type item goes to Chris, and Chris would contact whatever the vendor or subcontractor is. We're trying to help out. There's gonna be a point in time when we're gone. And, that transition is starting to happen. We're gonna be here a little bit longer because the demolition of the old town hall, but for all intents and purposes, we were under the base contract of what we were here to do. This project is finished up, we'd come back for some springtime work, and that would be it. Dan would be gone, we would be gone, we wouldn't even be having the OAC meetings until we started back up again. So, while we're here though, part of service, we're trying to assist. At some point, we will be gone.
But I appreciate that, but I want to be clear before we leave this room tonight. Who is responsible, who we go to, not you guys. We need to hear from the town manager. What is the process?
So, right now, I wasn't aware that Beth relinquished things to you. My thought would be any issues at the senior center should go to Beth, the director, who then should get them to me. And then I'll run them by the OPM to see whether they're warranty issues or they're actually part of the final punch list items. And then eventually, I would hope that Chris's involvement at the senior center can get smaller and smaller, and that Beth or whoever she wants to designate over there can be in charge of calling a plumber, calling an electrician, when need be. Be nice if we could have a facilities person there, but we can't. We don't have the money to do that. If we could, we'd hire one in a second. Love to have a facilities person on payroll. All Chris is for us is a coordinator. He's not a facilities person to fix things. He's just the person to call the guys to come in, the electrician, the plumber, whoever we need, HVAC. But eventually, when you guys finally say, that's it, nothing, everything else, everything from here on out would be a warranty issue, then it would be up to Beth.
And Chris has the contacts, all the contacts he needs.
Right.
All the information is there.
We can give Beth the list of all the contacts for the warranty issues, and if something happens within the time frame of the warranty, call them up and have them come out.
I think in good faith, Vertex researched and went to Seaver and something else, and the pamphlet that I handed out dated 12/31/2024 has a list. On the left-hand side is what Seaver agrees is a problem, I assume. And on the right-hand side is some answers that are possible. Did you not?
Well, just to clarify that too, the one you're looking at, the comments on the left are Ed's comments.
So they're the architects.
The bolded,
In the blue.
in the blue, the dark
I don't
bold
have a color
was
copy.
Vertex's,
So
these here.
I
The smaller
understand.
type is Ed's, the bold
I understand
is
that, but-
Vertex's.
But we did
then-
get back to Bob with solutions, or what we thought were not who to go contacts for the problems.
And we did
Is that
get
not
get
correct?
Seaver's response, his second response today that has some dates on it, but that came this afternoon. So there's a lot of
But it's
information
not like we've been ignoring
in Ventrade.
your requests. We not only have been answering your requests, but giving you the referrals. So, I don't know, let's continue on to wherever we were
I
lost.
mean, Bob, there's more things that are going on that, you know, quote unquote, behind the scenes
I got you.
to try and, you know, we've passed a bunch of things to Seaver, he's gotta pass them down to other people too. So, if I'll do it, let me go through the rest of this quickly,
Hold on,
okay?
Mr. Haas.
Could we have a date as to when this warranty, up?
1 year after substantial completion.
1 year after substantial completion, except for some things that are extended.
Well, is there a specific date set it now, or?
Yeah.
When
Whenever
is
the
it?
substantial completion
Off
was.
the top of my head, I think it was
September-
September something.
16th, 6th, something like
We have
that.
we have a
It's on a
certificate.
certificate.
Yeah,
Where's the certificate?
I think it was actually.
It should be in the
the
closing documents.
7th.
Something like- I
At the
don't-
beginning of September,
Something like that.
yeah.
So I think one clarification, we're here to resolve any contractual issues that are related to the punch list if they're not performing, right? Because we're withholding money. But if it's a warranty item, it's kind of turned over to the owner. The contractors still are obligated to fix anything for a year, but like he said, sooner or later, they stop chasing it. If it's not a punch list item, it's not our responsibility anymore.
Specific to Mr. Haas, and of course Mike walked out of the room and he'd have the paperwork. We will get back and announce the date of the start of the warranty at our next meeting. Does that satisfy your question? Thank you. Stephen, move on.
We might be able to throw it in tonight too, so. So that was the odor issue, the water bubbler, with the fan coming on and making noise, that's been also sent to the plumber, he'll come out to take a look at it.
It's fixed.
He must have done it then the day he did the hot water heater, perfect.
There you go.
Bob,
Steve, one question. Certificate of occupancy was 9/5/24.
There you go, thank you.
So that's the date.
So 9/5/25,
So 9/5/25
Yeah,
will be,
well, no, actually 9/5,
so
9/4/24.
Mr. Haas, the date is 9/5/25 when the warranty expires.
It's actually 9/4. Day before. The day before.
9/5,
9/5 is when you get it.
9/5 is the date.
9/4 is when it expires.
24.
yeah.
So it'll be 9/4 when it expires.
Except for the
Theoretically.
things that have extended warranties.
Correct,
like
like roofs.
Mechanical units.
the
Mechanical
units,
units,
some
things
other
like that.
pieces.
But those are factory warranties, not contractor warranties.
I believe the roof is a 2-year warranty.
2-year warranty on the roof, yeah.
And probably the sign and the landscaping?
Well, yeah, the landscaping is gonna be a little bit different, because we want a year of growing, so, thank you. So that's, well, the grass, the plants are there, yeah, the grass,
Correct.
or lawns, whatever you wanna call them.
Okay, Steve, I guess we can move on.
Okay, next page is the gas fireplace, as far as the temperature. The question that came up was it possible that fireplace was left on at night? Because it occurred one time during construction, when they tested it and forgot to turn it off. So,
Are you still, I think the question is, is somebody still running around with a temperature gauge measuring that it's super hot?
I was over there today, I didn't have it measuring. hand was measuring. And you can't hold your hand on the wall above it for any length of time.
When,
Well, Seaver did contact the fireplace supplier to get an opinion on that also.
Yeah.
So that was just a question that we,
I will make sure that Beth knows it can't be left on.
the baseboard or mop board caulking, Seaver says that's gonna be completed by the 7th of February. The next item, the flagpole gasket, there's no gasket or grommet that comes with that model, so that's.
Steve, hold up. I have a response to what Mr. Haas is gonna say, but I will let him speak.
That box that's there is security box, it's locked. And the two holes that I saw when I corrected the locking mechanism on it, I thought it was for a gasket, it is not. It's for a protective channel to go further up the pole to protect the halyard so nobody can cut it and take off with the flag. So there is a channel that's missing, it's not a gasket. And it adheres to the cover of.
But the box for the lanyard may be manufactured to put accessories, and I emphasize accessories, which one of them may be a lanyard guard. And the bid or the specs were not for a lanyard guard, it was for a lanyard where the rope is wind up to put a cover on it. And I believe that's what it is, but I believe that somebody is looking into that also. We are not paying anything that's nice to have. We only pay for what we were supposed to provide.
If you want, you bought the box, it cost over $200, I believe. And to secure the flag, without that channel, you're not securing the flag.
That is your opinion, you're entitled to it, and we are not gonna sit here till midnight arguing every item on this event. Go ahead, Stephen.
The next is the door handles. Those are on order. They're waiting for they're gonna put new handles in with an abrasive tape on the backside as opposed to the machining and knurling that caused the sharp edges. So those will be completely taken out with new handles, and that, because we made that change, it should be a quicker turnaround. As a matter of fact, according to Seaver, the manufacturer did run a couple new handles and they still came out sharp. So they've got a fabrication issue on their end.
No ETA?
No, he didn't give a date on that yet.
Okay.
The next item is bathrooms needing a push-button operator. They are not required, but we did request that Seaver do a tension test on the doors to make sure that the closer is set properly, and they'd be doing that by the 7th.
That's another item that somebody feels would be nice to have, but it's not necessary to have.
$5,000 a piece.
If somebody wants to donate $5,000 to put an electric door on that bathroom, and then the men's room will complain, so it'll be another $5,000, and then the people in the town hall will complain, whatever. But it's not ADA required as specified in this. I call it a complaint, you can call it observation. Next.
Yeah, it's only required if it's set back or it doesn't meet the 5 pounds, right?
Correct.
So the next item is the hot water heater condensate drain that was installed as per design. The sediment, there's a cartridge in there that may need to be pulled out and cleaned as part of the maintenance. But one thing about that, that's a non-public room, so the piping on the floor to the drain, which is where it has to go, is not an issue for the public side of the building for safety. So we have that off the list.
So that's closed?
installed as designed. The door to the rec room, the door bottom adjustment will be completed by the 7th. The bulletin board, according to the research that was done, number one, that was not on the original architectural punch list. And according to Seaver, they checked through their building photos, and whatever that black mark was not there at building turnover. Unfortunately, it must have occurred after occupancy. The next item is the hot water heater. I put numbers to these things, so it's actually item 9. That is now complete. Number 10, the lower cabinet door in the kitchen. They've got that at 2/7 completion. The cabinet scratches, number 11, also will be completed by 2/7. They've just got to get the touch-up kit, which my understanding is placed up in the attic, and they're going to coordinate with Chris to get that. Item 12 is the shut-off for the ice machine. It is installed as per the documents, and as far as the water hammer, the plumbing engineer said that water hammer arresters are required at all fast closing devices. They do not consider an ice machine a fast closing device. If there is experience with a hammer issue, then they suggest a shock absorber be installed, but that would be a change order. It was not called for originally. The emergency shut-off sign, they'll permanently affix that sign again by the 7th of February. The sink cover, or the cover below the sink, that can't be put back on. They will fix that by the 7th. The outside water faucets, the engineer opined on that. He does think that it's potentially a contractor issue, and that he's suggesting that the wall hydrants be replaced. So that's a new item, a no response from the mechanical engineer, so we'll forward that to the contractor. Excuse me. 16, the screens, those have been on order for a while. They don't have a date yet as to when they'll be in. Right now, based on weather, you'll be opening the windows anyways. But we also have that as an original punch list item, so that's covered a couple different ways. The director's office, the crack above the front window, they did fix one crack. They'll fix another one if I don't remember if he didn't put a comment on this. I'm not sure if they looked at that or not. And we understand now that the safety strap is actually the hold down piece for the chain for the shades.
I think I told somebody that a month and a half ago or something.
Yeah. So I know they had a bunch of them. They didn't put some on. We can have them put those on because it comes up a couple times. Item 18, the side window lock. Seaver said they've already addressed that item. Checking the windows and the locks, some are not working. Seaver's saying they addressed that, but there's also I think some safety, I'm guessing the safety stops are also the shade chain straps. Is that the same thing?
Safety locks.
It says some of the safety stops are missing. So would that be that strap?
No, there's a piece on it's on the window frame itself.
Okay.
Plastic thing that comes out, stops the window from,
Opening all the way.
you can only open it a little bit.
All right, I think we gotta have them recheck that.
They go in,
Yeah, they go in, yeah, they're spring loaded, you can pop them in.
you can pop them in and out.
Some don't work, some aren't there.
Maybe they get snapped off.
So we open the window, we've got the,
I don't know, we checked every one of them before we punched.
they might have been out, somebody opened the window. Those are for kids anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, it goes back to the school windows
Yeah,
that don't
it's the
open.
safety for, so kids don't fall out the window. I mean, they don't really affect the window functioning.
To stop people from breaking in, doesn't it?
Item 20
Not
is,
really. Push it hard enough.
what works when the generator is on? That's an internal conversation with the senior center and town hall. Same thing with 21, where the documents are gonna be placed. Right now, they're all up in Chris's office.
And he has them all on a thumb drive too.
He's got 2 thumb drives and 2 sets of 3-ring binders. Number 22, the food pantry floor. So you were saying that they could not find the issue of something under the tile. So I don't know if you have more of an exact location. 23, the cafe floor. That's something that was brought up earlier. They notified CJM, who was the flooring contractor, but they're saying they only found the 1 chip.
Just one.
It is 1, okay. The outside trash enclosure, swinging doors, Premier Fence is scheduled to be here Friday to do the inserts, this Friday.
Those are the ones going to asphalt?
Yeah,
Drop
yeah,
in?
the sleeves for the cane drop.
So they say it'll be done by the 7th?
I know, they're coming in.
Well, everything else is done by the
They're
7th,
coming
I'm saying. Hopefully by the 7th it'll be done.
Yeah. And heat in the building, that's also an internal town issue, making sure that everything's calling to the BMS the way it's supposed to. Added note, when Gliona was here, they did adjust the trap primers in regard to the smell in the kitchen.
What did they do to the water fountain? It says they addressed the issue.
Yeah, they must, but Bob said it was fixed, so.
The what? The water fountain?
The water fountain, the bubbler,
Yes,
it's
that's
not making
fixed.
that fan
I don't know
noise.
what they found, but I know, I checked it today and it's fine.
Could have just been something loose banging.
Yeah.
It was a fan that was, yeah.
A wire or something.
So I think I covered all of the submitted items.
So the last item, the BMS issue, who's monitoring the BAS?
Chris has remote access.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if there's an issue, then he can get in touch with the controls guy, usually the control guy
So it's
first,
more of a, probably a
which is house.
timing issue or something. It's not that it's not working, it's just maybe not working the way they want it to. Maybe it's not turning on fast enough or early enough or long enough. Okay.
Well, let me ask a question. I mean, that item goes back a ways. Is there still cool areas in the building
Yes.
that are less than comfortable? I mean, because temperature affects people differently, but if there's something that, I mean, if you're down in the 50s or something like that, that's,
I don't know how
That's a
cold
problem.
it gets, but I know that it's cool. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. I don't know how the temperature is set down there, or if it can be set, or.
well, I mean, the way the BMS works is if something is not meeting the set point temperature, there's an alarm that's shown on the BMS, which Chris would have access to say, okay, there's something that needs to be adjusted, or something's off, or whatever. I mean, the idea is that it sort of diagnoses what the problem is so it can be fixed.
You think they should, when they complain about the cool in here, right? I think maybe Beth or somebody should maybe write it down of where it is and what the temperature is,
Be helpful.
so you get an idea on.
Yeah, because those, I mean, like in here, you know, the heating units are separate by room, so it's not like you have one zone that covers the whole building. If it's in the arts and crafts room, that it feels cold, that arts and crafts feels cold or is cold or whatever.
Well, to your point, if you're sitting next to this window, the thermostat's over there.
Well,
So that's 68 degrees, it might be 64 over here.
Exactly.
So that's what we need to find out.
this room we keep at 68 until someone's in here,
Yeah.
then we turn it
Well, the
up.
body, everybody's body will heat it up anyway. But that adjusts, that's supposed to cool the room down when there's too much body heat in there. That's the whole point. So you don't have to keep,
Are they preset? They're preset,
Yeah.
aren't they? Yeah.
but they're not instantaneous, it takes, they cycle, right? Every
Takes a while.
15 minutes or something, it remeasures. This like a certain amount of time. Also, you put 50 people in here, it gets hot real quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's supposed to, I mean, they're very high-tech at this point, HVAC systems.
But to that point, if we know where it is, then maybe that one room needs to be adjusted.
Or what the temperature is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but again,
Because
if
it
by a
should-
cold
it
window
should be
today, it's
agreed
gonna be a lot
on the-
colder than over
on the
there.
thermostat, what the actual temperature is. Then you can say, well, it's supposed to be, you know, whatever we said at 67, 68, whatever, and it's actually 55.
The farther away you are from the thermostat, the colder it's gonna be, so.
So are you done
All
with your
hundred.
community center presentation?
I am.
Bob, do you have any questions?
I feel at this time.
Okay.
Let's move on to the town hall.
Okay, so for Town Hall, Phase 2 base contract work, we were informed that the monument sign will be installed next week. The base is in and the granite is around the bottom. The punch list is ongoing. There's a replacement of the main breaker in this building that's scheduled for Friday because they had to put in a temporary because the one that was delivered was damaged. So that's been coordinated with everybody for replacement on Friday. Intrusion system training is scheduled for the 28th. The plaza concrete replacement, and there's no further discussion on that at this point, except for some public records requests. That is also a potential litigation issue. Warranty items are coming up as needed. The one that's sort of been lingering for a while was the septic alarm light was going on. That was figured out that there was a wire that was connected incorrectly, and that's now resolved. But we did have the civil engineer, the site contractor, the electrician out to review it yesterday. There's also has been an item with an issue with grading at the fire department lot in this corner over here where in the rain water was ponding. That was reviewed. It appears that when the work in the library parking lot was done, some grading was raised between the fire department parking lot and the catch basin that it was supposed to drain to. So the civil engineer and the site contractor are going to figure out a way to create a swale so that does not pond anymore. And at some point the Connex boxes that are sitting there will be moved. They're blocking the water a little bit too, but trying to keep that area as safe as possible until it gets, and it doesn't have final paving yet, so it's actually even an inch and a half lower it should be. So that should be resolved.
And there was another issue, the new paving for the library has curbing on it. It didn't have curbing before, so that aggravated the problem.
Yeah. As far as the old town hall demo restoration, as Jim said, the antenna relocation was complete. The guy wire is no longer attached to the old town hall building. The interior temporary wall has been completed, so when that building comes down, the fire department will have a temporary wall that's insulated. Utility relocations are complete. All the known ACM has been removed. There's still some files that are coming out, town files that should be this Friday. Submittals are nearly complete. There's been somewhat of an extended discussion on additional steel column for a latent condition that was found after the documents were issued, and temporary shoring that has to be installed because you're going to demo the building with temporary shoring, and the steel column will come after the fact, once the part of the new foundation is in. We finally had a remote call today, got everything ironed out as far as who's responsible, because the shoring design and stamp comes under the contractor. The new structural steel comes under the structural engineer of record.
Delegated design, basically.
The shoring is delegated design.
Oh, is it?
So, Nick Iafrades has requested that once that shoring gets installed, that it be inspected by the designer and give them a compliance letter, stamped compliance letter, which they agreed to. So at this point right now, they're gonna start that shoring on Friday, probably finish it up Monday, Tuesday. They've got the inspection of the shoring scheduled for Wednesday, and then they'll be starting the demo of that building next week.
Awesome.
That's the schedule as of
Next Thursday?
2 o'clock today.
Correct.
Potentially.
Yes.
It's only if Chris gets all his paperwork out.
This is out. You
Oh.
laid it out last week.
Yes. Also, an issue that's been sort of lingering a little bit, the select board meeting room audio visual. They were gonna be having a meeting with the audiovisual engineer and the subcontractor who installed the AV system this Friday, to go over some testing reports that were sent that were incomplete. We want to do the commissioning of that system, because some of the items that were brought up by Ray Cord and his group will probably be ironed out during that commissioning, which will hopefully alleviate some angst by the select board. But we know, we told them that the next select board meeting is the 30th, so we really want to try and push that through.
And an interesting note on that, it was emphasized that we'd like to get the senior center done, community center, before the town hall, because I mentioned that they're trying to teach AV classes there and everything else, and Steve also emphasized that we'd sort of like to get the community center done first and then come to the town hall.
Well, that's sort of a separate topic, because the select board was under the general contractor's scope in the electrical contractor. The senior center and the town hall for the meeting rooms is a separate contract with another contractor. That contractor, I think I mentioned, is meeting with Dan tomorrow to walk the two buildings, and then the senior center is likely are gonna get the installation first, because there's some shop drawings that have to be resubmitted for town hall, which should also be, they're planning on resubmitting those the end of this week, and hopefully get final approval from Ascentech next week. So, and then there was also an approval of a change order for some items that were needed by Norton TV in the media room, which will be coming after. And I think you said they had some submittals on that also.
Yeah, they just sent them
Okay.
Monday, I think.
Yeah. So, and that goes back to the contract that did exclusively the select board meeting room. So that's another thing that would, I think part of that was connection to Zoom, which was not in the original contract. So as far as the final cost for the demolition, I haven't been presenting those, but they're not too far off from what I did back in October. But the shoring and the steel issue is going to add to the cost. But I'm saying add to the cost that would go to M. O'Connor, probably work it out of the contingencies that I had included in my overall budget. So again, you know, we're at about 2.4 now, but that has contingencies, that has design fees, so forth. And just for information, because there's some rumors that are swirling around. Right now, Vertex still has budget under the base contract. Our contract is set up that we get paid by the hour, it's not a lump sum. So I'm using our original base contract budget for as long as I can, and Vertex has not put in a contract amendment for the old town hall work, which is added work. I'll only do that when I absolutely need it. But that cost is included in the budget that we set up for that project. Doesn't mean we're gonna spend it, I had to account for it. Everybody understand that? Because I've been hearing that Vertex is taking advantage of the situation. We're not. We're trying to help the situation. Very similar to when I tried to have one guy cover both projects, and that was denied by this committee. That doesn't mean I was billing 8 hours a day with one guy. It would have been 4 and 4. If I did 8 hours and 2 sites with one person, that would be fraud. So I want to make sure everybody's clear on that, because I'd heard it before, and I heard it again, and I've heard it again, and I wasn't really appreciative of whatever's swirling around, and I just think it's because people don't understand our contract. Contractor, that's a lump sum. We are not. So, that's all I have.
Any questions from the committee? From the audience?
Nope.
Okay, any other business?
Nope.
Other than picking a meeting date in February?
Still on a Wednesday for you? Unless you
As
need
long as
to
it's not a Monday, as long as it's not a Monday.
go. Or you do the 19th?
19th?
When's school vacation week? Does anybody know?
It's
You
probably
know,
that week.
grandchildren.
It's that
I know
week.
some, I don't, sometimes towns
It's that week,
vary.
because that's President's Day week, it's
President's
usually that week.
Yeah.
Week of President's.
February 17th.
So we could do the 26th, which is the week after.
So, I'm in favor of the 26th. Anybody opposed to the 26th?
Works for me,
Huh?
works for me.
Okay, the next meeting will be at 6 o'clock here on the 26th of February. And hopefully somebody will step up to the plate to be chairperson. And thank you all for your cooperation.
Yeah, we can talk about that after. We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you.
Aye, aye, Captain.